I wanted to share the process of how I added the lining with pockets to my extra large jelly roll handbag that I made. Now, I'm no pro. This is my absolute first time ever adding a lining to a bag, so I was totally just like learning as I went and trying to figure out what I was doing. And I knew it was going to be a little trickier because of the way I made the bag and how I had to add the lining. So it just took a little bit of figuring out on my part. I was measuring the bag, making sure I knew what size it was, and then I made sure that my lining matched the same size as well. And I actually gave a little bit extra length to my lining just so I had enough extra material to work with because I wasn't sure how the bottom would sit adding it in since, like I said, this was my first time and I had no idea what was going to happen. With the way that I made this bag, it has side panels and it made it so that it has kind of like a 4-inch base. So I knew I wanted to do like the boxed cutouts for the liner. That part I knew. My bag ended up measuring 20 inches wide by 18 inches tall and 14 inches at the base when it's all put together right and sitting. I figured out the size that I wanted for my lining and I cut it. So it was 20 inches wide, and then I had it fit so that the material is going to be folded in half so I don't have to sew the bottom or anything like that. So that's what I did there, and I made sure that it measured and matched. So what I actually did too was, because like I said, I have no idea really what I'm doing, so I just laid it on top. I was like, okay, this is gonna work, right? Because I knew I had to sew the sides together and box out the corners. And so I was just going through, and this is just how I troubleshoot trying to do things. I was lining it up, seeing that it all matched, trying to figure out in my mind, like, how am I going to do this? So I folded it up like in half so I could put it inside my bag to see what it was going to look like and get a feel and understanding of what I was actually like doing. So here it is in the bag, and you can see I had a lot of extra material. So I was happy with that because I wanted enough wiggle room because I wasn't sure how it was going to work out, and I didn't want the lining to be like super crumply and messy. I wanted to fit as best as possible. So I decided to cut out 2-inch corners, and they're just little squares at the bottom of the base of my lining, and that's all I did. And I used my fabric marker to measure it out, and then I cut them, and then I'm going to be sewing those along with the sides of the lining. I wanted pockets as well, so I cut out 2 panels, actually with 2 pieces each, because I wanted the front and the inside to be with the print, with the fabric. So I did that, and I have my corners cut here. I think my pockets were, I wrote it down somewhere here. They were 8.5 inches by 20 inches wide. And then I pinned them, and then I left a spot to keep it open because I'm going to sew them all together and then leave it open so that way I can go back and inside out it. Gosh, I don't know all the technical terms for all the sewing because I kind of just wing it and do things as I'm doing them. So if I'm not saying like the right words, I do apologize. But this is just what I ended up doing. I went ahead and did this for both sides because I'm having pockets on both sides of my bag. And then I went in here where I left it open. I'm inside outing my material, and then I'm using my handy little tool here to help get the corners pointed out. And then after I do this, what I decided I wanted to do is to go back around and just sew it again to have a finished edge. So that's what I ended up doing, is sewing all the way around this pocket. So here's what my first pocket is going to look like. And I'm going to sew down the middle when I attach it so that I have 2 big pockets. So see, I'm just going to go in and I'm going to tuck that in where I had left it open, inside it out. And then I'm going to sew all the way around, just to kind of finish it, 'cause that's what I wanted. And for me, I just wanted to put a line down the middle. I know that's not giving me my pocket right now, but that was going to give me like a guide, I figured, when I went to go add this pocket panel in, so I knew exactly where I wanted that middle for my pocket. So that's just how I did it. I don't know. I just thought I'd share my process with you guys just so you could kind of see how I did my lining. Maybe you're new to doing different sewing projects and want to add a lining to these handbags that you see me making. So I just wanted to put it out there. I figured I'd record. I know it was my first time and I don't really know what I'm doing, but I managed to get it done. So maybe just you seeing it and seeing the mechanics of it all will kind of help you to be able to do it too, I figured. I know that we definitely all learn differently, so seeing it too may help as well. I'm going to try to write a tutorial, and that one's going to be free. And it will be on my website, christyshandmadecreations.com, with my other tutorials, just for something extra, and I'll have the measurements and stuff that I use, so maybe you can do it too. So here I am sewing around the outside edge, like I said I wanted to do, just to give it a nice finished edge. I just wanted it to look a certain way, and so that's why I did it like that. Next, I had to figure out where I wanted my pockets inside my lining. So I measured it all out and figured out and made it all nice and level where I wanted it to be. Make sure that it's going to be the same on the other side as well. And then I went ahead and pinned it, and I was going to get ready to sew them on. I'm going to be sewing down the left side, like I show you here. So I'm right here, down the right side, over and down and around, and then down the middle, leaving open up at the top for your pockets. So at this step, just be sure that you have um, your whole lining open. You don't want to sew them together, the both sides. So that's why I haven't sewn the whole pocket, the lining together on the sides yet, because I'm adding my pockets, and I just figured it'd be easier this way. I was actually really proud of myself because, like, I watched a couple videos to see how other people add their pockets and do stuff like that, and then I kind of took a little bit of this and a little bit of that and kind of just went for it. I wasn't entirely sure how I was going to manage this, and I almost didn't do it, but I'm so glad I did because it was for the project that I was making for myself, and I just love the way it turned out, and I'm so happy that it has pockets in it. Now I'm ready to sew down the middle so that way I have that divider for the two big pockets that I want in my liner here. So that's all I'm doing right now is adding that stitch down the middle to have that divider in my pockets. And then it was all done. Had to do this twice, so it was on both sides. But look, I have pockets. I was so excited. I was just so proud after I got to this step and it was just coming together nicely like that. After that, I went ahead and I got everything all nice and level and ready to go, and I'm going to stitch down the ends, and then I'm going to sew up my corners here. So I've seen this done before. I already have them the sides sewn. So all you have to do here is you take your corner like this and you just fluff it out. Like, let me show you. Take it and go boop, like that. I don't know how else to explain it, but so that it comes together like that, and then you're gonna sew across. And what that does is it gives it a nice bottom, so that way your bag sits in there nicely and has a bigger like a bigger bottom. Now I'm all done and I'm ready to add my liner and line it up and make sure I have it where I want it sitting on the inside, and then I'm going to trim off the top of it and I'm going to attach it. And I use clips to attach it. And then all I'm doing is I'm not doing anything fancy inside outing or having to do anything like that because this bag is just going to have a binding at the top anyway. So I figure I'm just going to drop my lining on the inside and then pin it so I can attach it. So that's what I'm doing here, is attaching it at the top. I went all the way around. I think I did about a 1/4 inch seam allowance. I seem to like to do that a lot with everything. I find it just works well. And just taking my time, making sure that I'm securing it nicely and everything's sitting where you want it to. The bag is a little bulky here and there, getting it to move around, but it's totally doable. I just absolutely love the way that the Jelly Roll strips look like this. I did the same method that I do for the Jelly Roll rugs, and I just love the way it looks. It looks so neat, and I know there's like a million ways to do stuff, but I just totally wanted to do this and have like a fun bag to go with all of my fun rugs that I make. So then after I get it sewn, all I did was add the binding up at the top, and I clipped it and then sewed that on. And then all that was left to do was to add my handles. I was super happy. It is absolutely huge and I just love it. It's obnoxious. It's just for me. It's perfect. I absolutely love it. I've been using it. It has a couple pockets, so 4 total. And I hope this was helpful.